Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Little Shop of Nerds. This is Mike.
I'm Julia.
Today's hint is band. Today we're going to be talking about a 2020, was it 21?
Came out in 2020.
Yes, this was during COVID. Oh boy, I hate that year.
Yes, this is a 5-year-old movie. We are talking about The Boys in the Band.
And this is still continuing on our Pride Month movie marathon, what to watch. This is one of the... Now, I haven't seen this movie. Jules hasn't seen this movie, so... And I was like, we were scrolling, and it popped up in a feed or two, and I like told her we'd do this one.
So, I was under the impression that it was going to be about music, but it wasn't. But it is set in 1968 New York, I do believe.
Yep.
And it revolves around 7 gay men. One of the actors that you guys may know is Jim Parsons. He played Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory. That's how he got his break.
The other one is Matt Boomer, which you might know him from Doom Patrol as Negative Man.
I wasn't done yet.
Sorry.
Yeah, so so Jim Parsons is an openly gay man, and he had the lead role for this movie.
Yep.
As his name is Michael. So you had Michael, Emery, Bernard, Larry, Hank,
Donald.
and Donald. Oh, and Harold. And then you had their straight friend, Alan. Well, Michael's straight friend, Alan. So, do you want to start off talking about it?
Alright, it opens up pretty much all the friends at their jobs, getting ready for their friend Harold's birthday, pretty much. And Jim's character, Michael, is getting all his gifts. He's getting stuff for the party, ice, alcohol. His friend Donald called, played by Matt Boomer, like I said, telling his cars broke down, and they told him to come to his house, and they all pretty much. He comes to his house. They're pretty much talking and just having this conversation about talking about what they are and their friends are and.
Yeah, so every single person in this friend group, minus Alan, which we will bring up Alan later, are gay. They're all gay. I think Emery and Bernard have something going on.
It could be, but who knows?
But the only actual relationship that they portrayed in the movie was Larry and Hank, which the two actors are actually in a relationship together.
Yep.
They met. So the movie is based off of a Broadway. I don't think it's a Broadway play, but it's based off of at least an off-Broadway play. It's set in the 60s, and then there was a 1970s movie that came out, and then they did another off-Broadway production with the same actors. So all the actors that you see in this movie had done this before off-Broadway, and I think it was a few years before. So then
I know. Oh, go ahead.
So the actor for Larry and the actor for Hank, they met while doing the off-Broadway production, and then they got into a relationship. And you can definitely tell, like, now that I know that, I can definitely tell that their actual relationship played a part in the way that they portrayed their relationship in the film.
Fun fact, the guy who played Larry played in the original Book of Mormon cast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he played Elder Price.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're all getting ready for the party, for Harold's party. I think there might be something going on between Donald and Michael, but it's not explicitly stated. But Larry, which he is kind of like a playboy, not like a playboy where he goes after women, but like goes after men. even though he's in a relationship, which we will definitely bring that up later. But when we see him, he's flirting with this other guy. His partner finds him, and he's just like,
Seriously?
really? So then they all so Donald was the first to show up. Then it was Emery, Larry, and Hank that showed up, and then Bernard showed up.
But I think Bernard.
I'm feeling like I'm forgetting something.
Oh,
Yeah, Michael. Okay, so Bernard was the last person to show up. So the only person that they were waiting for was Harold. Well, while they're waiting for Harold, Alan shows up because Alan called Michael wanting to talk. He's crying over the phone. He wants to talk about something, but he won't say what it is over the phone. Alan is unaware that Michael is gay. Because Michael grew up, he didn't come out as gay until after he had graduated from college because he came from the deep South Catholic family where, homosexuality is a sin. And Harold, which we'll get to him in a minute, he's actually Jewish. So we'll get to that when he shows up. So Alan he says that he wasn't going to come over, but then he does show up unannounced. And then Alan says something about he didn't like the way that Emery talked. Because I guess Emery was talking, or he has that voice that some of the more feminine gay men have.
He's flamboyant.
Yeah. Definitely flamboyant.
He'll even swing his hips.
Yeah, so, they're trying to not show that they're all gay, but they do not, succeed in that, and Alan Alan discovers, or he thinks that they're all gay, and he is, basically right. Alan, and Emery get into a fist fight. And while Alan is resting, here comes Harold.
Well,
I absolutely despise Harold. I think he's a dick.
Before he arrives, they also got him a prostitute, too.
Oh, yeah, a prostitute came in thinking that Michael was Harold. So then he sang the happy birthday song and then kissed them. And they're all like...
They laughed, and what was it? Emerald said, "This number is practically bald," and he's like, "Thank you, fuck you." And
Yeah.
I'm like...
Yeah, so... it wasn't long after that Harold shows up. Like I said, I absolutely despise Harold.
And Harold is played by Zachary Quinto. You might know him from the Star Trek movies and Heroes.
Yeah, and so like I said, he's Jewish. And I think that there was something that there at least had been something that had happened between him and Michael.
I saw that too when they were doing the presents.
Yeah. So, when he shows up, the prostitute kisses him. Alan sees it. Like, they're all just kind of, like, ignoring the fact that there's a straight man standing here watching all of this go down. And so then they go outside and they open up gifts. And... yeah, I mean, the gifts are what you would expect from... they're kind of flamboyant. So then they had to go into the house, or into the apartment, because it started to rain. And, Alan tries to leave, because he is now suspected, and probably at this point he knows that they're all gay. And he's trying to leave, but Michael would not leave him. So this is where would not let Alan leave. So this is where Michael becomes a dick.
And he made this game, which is really horrible, that no one should ever play. It was some kind of a phone game. He said, if you called the person that you really loved If they answer it was a point. If you talk to them, it's a point. If you say I love you, it's what, 5 points, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you could get a total of 10 points. So they start off with Bernard.
And there goes Chewie.
Yeah, just ignore Chewie. So they start off with Bernard. And Bernard talks about how there was this guy that he had loved, I think back
when
he was younger.
When he was, I think, in high school or in college, because his mom, he used to live in what, Detroit, and his mom was like a maid or something, and friends of the family, and
yeah, he fell in love with a white guy, and they actually did do it a few times, but then like the next day, like the guy, actually no, I think it was just the one time that they did it.
It was pretty much they were skinny dipping at night, and
the next day, the guy just pretended like it never happened. And so he does end up calling. He found out that the guy, I think, had been married like 3 times. And he did call his mother, and he talked to the guy's mother. And then he found out that he wasn't, he wasn't there, and that he
just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and so he got some points for that. Next was Emery, and Emery was talking about how when he was in 5th grade, he fell in love with a junior or a senior, I think.
Either way, an older man.
Yeah, and by the time that he was in high school, he had already graduated from college, and he was a dentist, and he had gone a few times to the guy for his teeth cleaning or whatever, his dentistry work. And he asked if the guy would be his friend, and he said yeah. But then the guy's future wife spread rumors around and was made fun of Emery. And then he just stopped talking to the guy. So then he calls the guy, and the guy had no idea who he was and hung up on him.
And now I'm like, okay, this is really this is really bad. Then, Alan didn't like this. He tries to get Hank to go with him, but he thought Hank was straight, but he's like, nah, bro, he's like, I just came out.
Yeah, like, from the way that I understand it is, and Michael even said this, he goes both ways.
Yep.
So he's mostly probably bisexual.
Mostly.
But he does have a preference for men.
Which is mostly, yes.
Yeah, so he, because Hank is married. They're in the process of getting a divorce, because he was married and had 2 children. They're in the process of getting a divorce. Larry is his lover. So Larry and Hank start getting into it because Larry is convinced that Hank is going to call his ex-wife, or his soon-to-be ex-wife. But instead, what Hank does is he calls their apartment building. Of course, no one's there, but he calls their apartment building, leaves a message with the front desk or whatever to give to Larry, saying that he loved him. So then Larry, is standing in front of everybody. He's declaring in front of everybody that he loves Hank, but he had to call. Part of the game was that you had to call and say it. So Larry, apparently, Michael has like 2 separate phone lines. So Larry goes into the kitchen, picks up that kitchen phone, calls Hank, or calls the other phone in the living room, the one that everybody was using to call, and it's ringing, and he looks at Hank and he goes, pick it up because that's for you. And Hank picks it up, and then Larry tells him over the phone, I love you, and he got full points. At this point, I think Hank had gone up to Michael's bedroom, and then they're trying to get, Oh yeah, because Larry and Donald had something going on. They had sex before. And that kind of, that's when Larry was like, well, I think he basically wanted an open relationship. Because I guess Hank was trying to get him to do a threesome.
Yeah.
But Larry didn't want to. But Larry also wants to be able to have sex with other people by themselves. So like he doesn't want the threesome.
Yeah, I get it. He's more like.
So it seems like that they were more into like an open relationship than anything.
Yeah, and then it got to Alan, and this is when you can tell Michael had deep hatred towards him, because he mentioned he had a friend named Justin, and him and Alan had they were pretty much having I don't know what, friends with benefits kind of spiel.
They were definitely sleeping with each other when they were in college. And it
And
wasn't just like a once or twice. It was like several times.
yes, and Alan said it was only once. He's like, if it was only once, you wouldn't like it, but once it's more, you like it. And he's trying to convince him, you're in the closet, and so he calls. He thinks he's talking to Justin. Michael takes it, and turns out it was Alan's wife.
Yeah, Alan had called his wife to tell her that he loved her. And then he ended up leaving. And then, I don't remember the exact things that Harold said to him, but he said some pretty,
messed up things
to Michael. And then he left with the prostitute, and then, which the prostitute was dumb as box of rocks.
And, well, it was, but I think what Harold was trying to tell him is Michael might be happy he came out, but there's times he wants to be regular, normal, because I think he misses everyone. Because now during this time, the year he came out, that a lot of people will.
Yeah, in the 60s was not a good time. And it still, it still happens today too, where people will come out and
people will shun.
People will shun them, disown them, or whatever. But in the 60s, it was definitely a lot
worse,
a lot rougher for gay people, because that's during the time. No, because that would have been during the time of the sexual revolution or whatever.
Well, people was still.
It wasn't widely accepted.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Even during the sexual revolution or whatever, during the 60s and the 70s, it still wasn't as accepted as it is. Because it's more acceptable today to be gay or whatever than it was back in the 60s.
Yeah, and now it's just, back then it was just worse. And
yeah.
Right now, Michael has a breakdown. Donald's trying to cover him, and Michael goes to mass. You see everyone going their separate ways. Alan's at a bar. Hank and Larry are
having sex in Michael's bedroom.
Yep, getting on.
I don't care how close you are to your friends. I would never be comfortable sleeping with anybody in my best friend's or any of my friends' bed. Now, if I was a guest room, maybe, but not in their actual bed.
Yeah.
That's just the weird thing.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's just if there's no guest room, go to your house and fuck.
And they live together, so it's not that they can,
Yeah,
But I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and I was like, are they still in Michael's bedroom?
Yep.
Why are they having sex in his bed? Yeah, so you see Harold in the car and in a taxi with the prostitute. Donald is sitting in the living room of Michael's apartment reading a book. Like Mike said, Alan was at a bar. Michael was at mass.
Then he's.
Emery and Bernard were at a diner.
Yeah, and pretty much doing the old special, like at the end of getting drunk or something, you go to a diner or the Waffle House just to eat something, sleep it off, pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, Chewie's over here sniffing Mike, but and then you just kind of see Michael just walking off down the road, and then that's where it ends.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie was pretty good, and Mike actually had told me, he texted me that it was based off of a stage play, which I can definitely, after he told me that, I could definitely see it, because I could tell by the layout of the apartment, but then I could also, as it started to go through the movie and everything, I could tell by the dialogue. Dialogue also made it kind of obvious that it was based off a stage play.
When I was watching it, I was like, the dialogue sounds like you're watching a play. And I'm like, and I Google it, and I'm like, I'll be damned.
Yeah. So, I don't remember what year they did the stage play. All these current actors did the stage play, but they did start filming this movie in 2019, and then it was released in 2020.
Yep.
And it was fairly good. I did like it a little bit more than I thought I would, to be honest. And I don't mean that like in like a bad way or anything. It's just sometimes movies are hit or miss.
I thought it was like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd probably give it about a 7 out of 10 too.
And I liked it. I liked the dialogue. I liked how it played like a stage play, and I did like the drama. But I'm like, and at the end of the movie, I'm like, after all that shit, I'm like, I need a drink, man.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like, I'm wondering who's meaner, women or gay men?
I mean, gay men can be catty.
Well,
I've seen it, like, especially with one of my gay friends. I've seen him get catty, so they can definitely get catty.
But either way, it was just, if you're into mood with drama, I would watch the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie, so I mean, I'd give it a watch too.
Yep.
But yeah, so that is our review for The Boys in the Band. So I will go ahead and give you next week's hint, which is going to be Runaway. And that's going to be our last movie for Pride Month. If you guys do have any movies, like for Pride Month or whatever, that you want us to watch, let us know and we can definitely put that down for next year. Or we can maybe do it later on in the year.
Either one, we can do it.
Like, and even if you have any like movies that you want us to watch or series, anime, whatever, let us know and we'll take a look into it. I am currently working on the Apothecary Diaries. I am currently on season 2, so that might be something that we might do later on after I finish the series. Because that last episode doesn't come out for another couple weeks. So, if there's anything, like I said, if there's anything you guys want us to watch, just let us know. We'll see about getting to it.
Yep.
So,
like and subscribe, and we'll see you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.